Tragically, violence has erupted again on the Gaza border. Hamas have claimed over 50 Palestinians have been killed. Political leaders in the UK, like Jeremy Corbyn, are expressing outrage at Israel's response, claiming that Israel is massacring peaceful demonstrators. Yet this isn't what Hamas are saying. Hamas are screaming from the rooftops to anyone that will listen that these aren't peaceful protests, but terror, or in their language, military operations.
السيد أبو مازن كان يقول بعد كل هذه السنوات عادت حماس لمربع المقاومة السلمية التي كانت تنادي به فتح منذ أول يوم، منذ سنوات طويلة، ها هي تعود لنفس المربع. إذا لماذا لا تلتئم فتح وحماس في مشروع واحد؟
هذا خداع لفظي واضح. هذه ليست مقاومة سلمية. هل خفت هذا الخيار؟ لا، ما خفش، بالعكس هذا بيتطور بينمو، وواضح هذا الأمر. وبالتالي عندما نقول أنه هذه مقاومة سلمية وهذه مقاومة سلمية بنخدع الشارع. هذه مقاومة سلمية مدعومة بقوة عسكرية وقوة أمنية ودعم شعبي عظيم.
In this video, IDF soldiers respond to terror attempts. Terrorists are burning tires and advancing towards the security fence. In response, IDF soldiers use dispersal means against the violent rioters. Terrorists then activate IEDs against the IDF forces. The big fire that you saw in that video creates a thick smoke which acts as cover for rioters attempting to breach the security fence. So why were Hamas trying to breach the fence? Well, before the riots, they were handing out maps which instructed people where the closest Jewish villages to the Gaza border were. Now, I ask you a question. Why on earth would peaceful protesters need or want to know where the closest Jewish houses were? Do you honestly think they wanted to pop in for a cup of water or to use the bathroom? And when they finally did breach the fence, the answer became quite clear. They were wielding meat cleavers and chanting for the death of Jews.
يلا رجال يلا رجال الله أكبر هينا جوا يا إخواننا هينا جوا رضينا هينا جوا رضينا الله أكبر هينا جوا رضينا هي قلبه هي قلبه الله أكبر يلا ادخل ادخل تعالوا الله اكبر الحمد لله يا اخواننا تم العبور شرق البريج تم العبور شرق البريج الله اكبر لله الحمد الله اكبر يا رب.
The violent aspects of the riot were ignored by the international media. In fact, we know that almost half of the dead have already been identified as Hamas operatives by Hamas. This isn't coming from the Israelis. Hamas are claiming the dead as their own operatives. But you wouldn't know that from the press. It's like there's a media blackout. Instead, they focus on tragic loss of civilian lives, like this poor baby. Although we suspect it didn't even cross that journalist's mind to even question what on earth a parent was doing, taking a young vulnerable baby to the front line of a violent conflict where dozens of people had already been killed. You see, Hamas encourage their civilians here. They hide behind their civilians, and it doesn't really matter whether it's murdered Israelis or dead Palestinians. It's still a PR victory for Hamas. And while the press continue to report it this way, Hamas will continue creating martyrs or murderers. The situation is truly tragic. I pray for the day when Hamas stop using their civilians as shields, as publicity stories to continue this perpetual cycle of violence. But they must realize that Israel will not allow its borders to be breached and its citizens butchered.